Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our virtual open day. My name is Katlego Matlala. I am the Junior Brand Manager for SACAP, and I will be your host for today's session. Today's open day program will include learning more about the study of applied psychology, management, and leadership at SACAP. Our admissions team will give you information on available programs, the application process, and the payment options available. Our work integrated learning team will take you through the practical component of some of our programs. And lastly, we will take you on a virtual tour of our physical campuses. But just a few house rules before we proceed with today's session. We will have a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so please do send us your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. We are aware that there is high internet usage in the country, thus slowing down connections in some parts of the country, and we ask for your patience in that regard. Just also please be advised that we are still working from home. So if you at any given moment hear an occasional microwave beep or a child screaming in the background, we really do apologize for that. But we did try to keep all the distractions at bay. Without wasting any time, I will now give you an overview of our physical campus locations. SACAP has 4 campuses nationwide, located in Cape Town, Johannesburg, Pretoria, and also Durban. We also do have a fully fledged online campus that has been operating for 6 whole years, and they've just recently launched 2 study options, being the online Flexi and the online Live. I will now hand you over to my colleague, Carl Badenost, who is the head of learning, design, and online learning, that will take you through a little bit about SACAP's approach to learning.
Thank you very much, Kat, and good morning to everybody. My name is Carl Badenost, and as you heard, I'm the head of learning, design, and online teaching here at SACAP. And what I would like to do this morning is just to briefly talk about our approach to teaching and learning here at SACAP, as well as the various study options that we do offer. Because really at the heart of your SACAP experience is this teaching and learning experience that you're going to go through, in your classes into the future. So, SACAP's approach to teaching and learning is guided by some principles, and that these are the principles that you can see on the slide at the moment. So we have, as you saw in the previous slide, we have 4 physical campuses as well as an online campus. And we have these 2 modes of study, or these 2 modes of delivery, being our online mode and our face-to-face or our contact mode. And then within that, we have these 3 study options that we'll present in a moment. But regardless of the mode of delivery, regardless of which campus that you study on, the approach to teaching and learning has been informed and guided by these particular principles. And really at the heart of these principles is SACAP's approach is very much a person-centered or a student-centered approach to teaching and learning. And what I mean by that is it's our values and our philosophy around education is guided by interaction, and it's guided by engagement. We've created quite a dynamic medium that allows students to not only engage with content, but also to engage with fellow students, with your peers, as well as your educators. Because we really do and truly believe that learning is an active process, and as well as a social process. It's not a passive process in which you just sit and read books and listen to lectures. We truly believe that learning is active, and this is embedded very much largely within our name, that we are a school or a college of applied psychology. So we have a strong emphasis on the applied nature of knowledge and the applied nature of skills, and we're not just trying to teach theory, we're really trying to teach students how to apply this. And to apply these skills into very real world contexts. And that is largely accomplished through this engaging experience. And that links very closely to the next principle, which is the interactive learning, linked to our educators and our educator model here at SACAP. And we place a lot of emphasis on our educators, because educators are really at the heart of it, at this teaching and learning experience. And no matter where you study at SACAP, no matter which classes you're in, you're always going to be guided through this learning journey and through this process by an expert educator. So, and that is linked very much to a very a facilitative approach to teaching and learning. as opposed to a lecture approach to teaching and learning. So our classes are specifically designed or purposefully designed to be quite interactive. They're facilitated. And, within this whole process, within this whole learning journey, you may be, you have your own goals and your own motivations for studying, and you are on your own journey, but you are drawing on quite a robust level of support. And this is not only support through this interactive environment with students and with educators, but with larger support structures that have been put in place at the college for you. So to encourage interaction, to encourage this engagement, we purposefully keep our classes quite small, and we cap classes at no more than 25 students per class. And this is so that you have that space to be able to engage and interact, to express your opinion, to make yourself heard, and to be able to grow, not as grow as a learner, grow as an individual, but also to grow as a community of learners together. And then, lastly but not leastly, is that all of our programs and our teaching and learning and our content is really rooted in academic excellence and rigor. We are an academic institution, and there are a number of quite robust quality assurance processes that guide us. And in a moment, you're going to learn more about our accreditation and how that injects this academic excellence and rigor into it. So, there are also a link to this engagement as well, just to step back for a moment, is that there is the emphasis on this engagement, and why we want to encourage it so strongly is also reflected in our assessment practices. That for most modules, there is actually an engagement component that contributes towards the final grade. So these really are our principles that we've kind of established and put in place to guide our teaching and learning practices, as well as the design of the 3 study options on the next slide. All right, so we've got these 3 study options that we put in. I said previously, we've got 2 modes of delivery, which is our on-campus as well as our online mode of delivery. Sorry, if you can just go back to the previous slide. Is that these 3 study options, we have the online flexi and the online live. These are our 2 study options within the online campus. Really, the big differentiator there is that the one has weekly scheduled live webinars. But what I want to do this morning is focus more on the on-campus approach to teaching and learning. This is the on-campus approach if you choose to study on one of the 4 physical campuses around the country. So this is, we've adopted what is known primarily as a blended approach to teaching and learning. And really what you can expect in this classroom, in this on-campus environment, is you have structured classes that you're going to be attending on a weekly basis. And these classes are 2 hours in duration. And then very closely linked to this and complementing this within this blended teaching and learning approach is what we in academic jargon like to call asynchronous learning activities. We don't want to limit teaching and learning simply to the time that you spend in a particular classroom. And the world of education and higher education is evolving and changing quite strongly as notions of online learning are becoming prominent, and the use of technologies in the teaching and learning space are becoming quite important and more prominent. And we're wanting to inject this into our approach to teaching and learning. So what students can expect in this teaching and learning space is simply not just to attend classes. You're also going to be expected to participate alongside or complementing this classroom space is this asynchronous or this additional learning activities or these additional resources that you're going to be working with that go alongside this experience. So really what this is trying to do is give a space for students who enjoy a lot of social interaction and a lot of the social environment that comes with learning with other people in a face-to-face environment or within the physical classroom environment, but yet allowing you to continue your learning journey outside of the 4 walls of the classroom as you engage in these activities with your students. And these activities can be anything from additional forum discussions that you're going to participate in to many other types of interactive components that you're going to work through. And this is really designed primarily, as I said, to complement the teaching and learning space, to allow you to continue to go deeper into the module content, to continue the discussions and the engagements with your students, with other students, as well as with your educators. And this is very much linked to the engagement components in our principles that guide our teaching and learning, and to a large degree, this engagement within the classroom environment, but as well as your engagement with these activities will, in a large degree, contribute towards module engagement marks within your module. So we can move on to the next slide for me, please. Is that this last little piece I would like to speak to is really just our digital or our virtual online environment, or our virtual campus known as SACAP, and all students will have access to the space. And really what this platform is doing is really a space to facilitate those online activities, or those asynchronous activities that are complementing the classroom time. So it's on this space here that you're going to engage with various activities on a weekly basis. It's through this platform that you are able to access your module materials, your module outlines, your prescribed and recommended readings, additional resources that may be provided to you by your educators, as well as these activities. This is also the space where you're going to submit your assessments, where you're going to get feedback on your assessments. And it's also the space where you are able to access our digital library of journal databases and ebooks and a number of other additional resources. So technology becomes quite an important factor in this environment to help facilitate these additional activities. And there are some other technologies which SACAP is using in the teaching and learning process, but I'm not going to go into too much detail around those today. It's really just important to mention that the online space, or the use of some level of technology, particularly through SACAP, is also going to be used to facilitate and guide you through additional activities as you attend classes, but also as you engage in further activities throughout the week in your learning journey. So yes, much of this information will become available on our website in the coming weeks, but I'm going to hand back over to Klejo now, who will then take us through the program accreditations.
Thank you very much, Carl. I will be speaking into SACAP'S accreditation as well as our program accreditation, which I believe is one of the key things that you need to look into when applying at a higher education institution, just to make sure that the programs that you are studying are accredited with the right regulatory bodies in the country. So as you can see, SACAP is a leading accredited independent provider of education in applied psychology, management, and leadership, and we also offer a range of accredited degrees, diplomas, and certificate programs. We are registered as a private higher education institution and registered with the Department of Higher Education and Training. Our qualifications are accredited by the Council of Higher Education and registered on the National Qualifications Framework by the South African Qualifications Authority. Our professional psychology programs, that being the Bachelor of Psychology and the BPsych equivalent program, are professionally endorsed by the Health Professions Council of South Africa and leads to the professional registration of registered counselors. We also enjoy an associate membership with Comensa on all our coaching programs. On the next slide, I will walk you through categories of which our applied psychology, management, and leadership programs are available in. First of all, we have psychology. Well, the study of psychology ultimately aims to benefit individuals and society in the enhancement of mental health, as well as in understanding and solving problems in many other contexts and spheres of human activity. When we look at the category of counseling and communication, we realize that counselors are responsive to the needs of individuals and groups in a variety of counseling settings. And given the overwhelming psychosocial and emotional needs evidenced throughout the country, there is a growing demand of well-trained counselors in providing supportive counseling services and in preventative mental health initiatives such as family strengthening, life skills training, as well as social support services. We also have business management. In addition to managing daily operations, business managers need to also be understanding of the interrelationships between between external business landscapes and the psychosocial factors within organizations, and how to responsibly manage people at an individual level, a team level, as well as a systemic level. We have human resource management as one of the categories as well, HRM for short, which inherently is the process of recruiting, selecting, inducting employees, providing training, imparting training and development, maintaining proper relations with employees and their trade unions, and also ensuring employee safety, welfare, and healthy measures in compliance with the labor laws of the country. And finally, we have coaching. Coach is a thinking partner that helps you accelerate your learning and development. What they do, in a sense, is they provide a space for reflection, and they ask questions to help promote insight, and also collaborate with you as a coachee to design actions in order for you to achieve your goals. Moving on, I will now hand over to our admissions officer, who will give you a breakdown of each of our programs that are linked to the categories that I've just taken you through. Hanno, there you go.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Heino. I would be your admissions officer. I will be taking you through to the different programs we are offering here at SACAP. So first of all, we're going to be looking at our higher certificate in counseling communication. This is basically for our students that pass grade 12 with only a higher certificate pass and wants to merge into the field for either psychology, human resource management, business management, or the other programs we do offer. So the higher certificate is our bridging course. It's a 1-year qualification. It is on an NQF level 5. Once done with this qualification, it allows you to merge into different fields, either into the advanced certificate that we will speak into now, also your diploma, or even your degrees. And you will also be receiving credits once moving into the different qualifications. So the higher certificate, a practical qualification. It's a nice qualification to have to up your skills at the end of the day. Your advanced certificate in counseling communication, this qualification is basically more for our students that already completed an undergrad degree, just wants to build and gain more skills in the field that consist of also 200 hours of practical field work. Basically, our world department will also speak into that to give you a little bit more info on working with human resource practitioners, those sort of things. This qualification is on an NQF level 6 though, also registered with all the professional bodies except for the HPCSA. Moving on to the next slide. You see then we're starting with our diploma in counseling communication. This is a very comprehensive vocational qualification. It's a strong emphasis on counseling and communication skills. And this is really designed to deepen your knowledge in specific areas of your choice. This diploma is on an NQF level 6. Entrance criteria is a grade 12 certificate with a diploma pass. If we talk about a diploma pass, it means a minimum of 45% in English and then 40% and above in any other 4 modules. It doesn't matter which modules it is. Then we're moving over to our Bachelor's of Applied Social Science degree. This is the first degree in the 3 degrees SACAP are offering. So first of all, we're going to be looking at our psychology and counseling degree. These are for students that really want to merge into become a qualified psychologist, or they want to merge into the field, become a registered counselor even. This is a really strong qualification. Also consists of your 200 hours of practical field work or work integrated learning, and also on an NQF level 7. So this entrance criteria is a slight little bit different than the diploma. It's a grade 12 certificate with a bachelor's pass. That means a minimum of 45% in English and then 50% and above in any other 4 modules. Where the diploma was 40%, the degrees are 50% and above. Then moving on to the next slide, other 2 different qualifications in degree fields. That would be your human resource management, first of all. This is a combination of psychology and human resource management modules. So it's basically to have 2 majors in a field. This program was specifically designed for human resource management. Also consists of your work integrated learning. And what's nice of this qualification, it is registered with the People Board of Practices. There's also the only qualification on a degree level that are registered with a professional body. Also with this entrance criteria, it is a diploma of a bachelor's pass. Like I said, it's also a minimum of 45% in English and then 50% and above in any other 4 modules. Then the next one is our business management. Also consists of practical field work. Entrance criteria is exactly the same. And then the modules in this field are psychology orientated and then business management orientated. So all our 3-year degrees consist of practical or work integrated learning component that we will do the placement for our students. Right, just on that note, our 3-year degrees are not registered with the Health Professional Council of South Africa. So it means once you're done with the degree, you cannot practice at this stage. It's only the first step. If you want to practice, I will talk into a little bit more of the other qualifications that will allow you to be a registered counselor. Then first of all, we're going to be looking at our Bachelor's of Psychology. Please, guys, don't get confused. This is not to go into the, you can go into the field of psychology, but it's not to be a qualified psychologist. This is to be a registered counselor. And this can lead to the registration with the Health Professional Council of South Africa. It's a 4-year professional program. So that means that includes your honors at honors level. And this can also allow you to apply for a professional master's. So this consists of your 720 hours of work integrated learning, where we did a placement for you at an accredited HPCSA center. Then the qualification next to this is the Bachelor of Social Science honors degree, like we call it, is our academical honors. These are for our students that already completed the 3-year degree. Now wants to take it a step further to go into the field to become a qualified psychologist. They will be looking at our academical honors. It's a 1-year qualification on campus. And if you do it online, it will be taking you 18 months. Now with this honors, once you've done with it, it doesn't mean that you are professional. It's not a professional honors, only academical honors. So you cannot register with the HPCSA with this qualification. Once done with this honors, you can then apply for professional masters in a field like clinical, educational, counseling, research psychology. Right, moving on to the next slide is our Bachelor's of Social Science honors degree of our BPsych equivalent program. This is for our students that already completed an undergraduate degree that now wants to be a registered counselor with the HPCSA. This is a professional program registered with the Health Professional Council of South Africa. It is an NQF level 8 professional honors. And also then this one is your academical side plus your work integrated learning, your 720 hours of field work that once done with the qualification, you've written your board exam, you can then apply at the HPCSA for a registered counselor. Right. Unfortunately for this qualification, the application's already closed on the 31st of October. So we've already closed that application now. Moving on to the next one, the Bachelor of Social Science honors degree in Human Resource Management. It's almost like your academical honors in the field of psychology. Now this one is just your academical honors for Human Resource Management. It also builds on skills gained in your undergraduate degree, develop skills to become a leading human resource practitioner. It is an NQF level 8. So once done with this, you can then apply for a master's in the field of human resource management. All right, moving on to our next slides. It's our master's in social science. Please guys, this is not a professional master's. It's more for our mental health promotion. So that means it's more like an academical master's. But this master's you can still use to apply for a doctoral once completed. Also registered with the professional bodies except for the HPCSA. It's not registered with the HPCSA. Right, then moving on. We're going to be looking at the coaching qualifications. There are 3 different qualifications. So what you guys see on the slide here is your coach practitioner program and your advanced coach practitioner program. So these are for students that doesn't meet the entrance criteria into a postgrad diploma in coaching. We'll be basically starting off with our coach practitioner. Once done with the coach practitioner, your advanced coach practitioner, there afterwards, you would move over to your 2nd year of your postgrad diploma in coaching. So your coach practitioner and advanced coach practitioner are your 1st year of your postgrad diploma in coaching. So all our coaching programs are registered with the ICF, International Coaching Federation. Once done with the coach practitioner, you can actually start coaching as well. Once done with the coach practitioner, who wants to get more advanced skills, you would then do your advanced coach practitioner to deepen your ethical understanding and coaching practices, expand your application of coaching models. So once done with this, we're going to move over to the postgrad diploma in coaching. That is on NQF level 8, international recognized. So once done with this qualification, you are international recognized, basically coach, registered with the ICF. And this also includes done your 265 hours of practical of work integrated learning that will be guided by a qualified coach to assist you with your field work and your practical component. The coaching in the workplace next to it is only an online short course though. This is more for our students that's already in a working environment, like managers, and then got a couple of people working underneath them that they need to maximize learning and performance in their team members, empower their teams to be engaged and more productive, and encourage the best thinking out of their team to make that team a success. It's a short course online, so that basically starts in our term 3 intakes. That's in September. That will end on December. So next application for this will basically start next year, around about by August side, we can start your application for this. All right, that is our qualifications basically. I'm going to quickly take you through for the application process. You guys see if you do any inquiry, there's done through our marketing that you can correspond with, and then also visit our open days. Campuses visits, career guidance. On that note of campus visits, guys, we do have a booking system. Now with the COVID, you can just make a booking on our website or even call in to our different campuses, make a booking with one of our admissions officers, and then we can see what time and date would be suitable to make an appointment for you guys. With the application process, I'm going to need your application forms. I will send you my email address in the questions and answer box. So you guys do have my email address if you've got any other questions. So basically, I'm going to need your application documents that will be sent through to you, or you can do an online application, certified copy of your ID, certified copy of your highest qualifications, a character reference letter. Basically, a character reference letter is a testimonial get from school. Pastor, a psychologist, employer can give you a character reference letter, just explaining a little bit more of your personality through to us, and that needs to be on a letterhead as well. Application fee is 350 Rand for the normal programs. If I tell about normal programs, it's not our professional programs. The 600 Rand is for the professional programs for your BPsych and BPsych equivalent. Then updated CV, that is only for if you're applying for our coaching, then I'll be needing a updated CV. And then the referee and addendums, those are for our postgrad qualifications that we require a referee report, 2 referee reports, as well as an addendum that needs to be completed by you. Then different payment options. We have our debit order form, an annually payment or a termly payment, and then the registration fee. Once you send through your documents and I've sent you your acceptance letter, you then secure your space with your registration fee. And then later on, we can decide on the different payment plans that would be suitable for you. All right, then SACAP offers the 3 payment plans. That's an upfront payment. If you do a once-off payment in the beginning of the year before the 31st of January, you do receive a 5% discount on your fees. Or you can decide to do it in a termly payment. We're working in trimesters. So every 2 weeks before every term starts, you do a once-off payment for the term, or you can decide to do a debit order that will be running for 10 months. And guys, on the next slide, I think we're going to hand over now to our WIL department, Work Integrated Learning, that will take you through the practical component of our different qualifications.
Certainly, Heino. Thank you for that comprehensive cover of the qualifications that we offer at SACAP. Good morning, all, and thank you for sharing your morning with us, and a warm welcome to you all. My name is Nhlanhla Dlamini. As Heino has introduced me, I am a WIL coordinator of the Johannesburg campus, and I'm also a registered counselor by profession. Today, I'll be sharing a little about SACAP's WIL program with you all. Work Integrated Learning, which is WIL, is an explicit feature of many of our undergraduate and postgraduate programs. It is regarded as a rewarding an essential component of a student's learning experience, and it is the hallmark of SACAP's curriculum. SACAP's vision is to continue to grow and develop as a center of excellence for education, research, personal and professional development in the field of applied psychology. An integral component of this vision is to form links with various psychosocial organizations in the counseling, community, health, and welfare services. The intention thereof is that this collaborative work will provide excellence in the education and training of students within these industries. So, after countless hours of studying and years of dreaming of becoming the change, as a SACAP student, you'll finally have this opportunity through the WIL program. WIL is rewarding and is the perfect opportunity to apply the knowledge you've learned in class within a real-world placement site. It truly gives many students the opportunity to create change by leaving a giant footprint on the hearts of others and communities. An important aspect of WIL is ensuring that all students feel guided and supported on the journey. This is why all WIL students receive a guardian angel, also known as your supervisors and mentors. Work Integrated Learning provides you with the following. It provides you with valuable and practical experience before you graduate, an opportunity to make a positive impact in South African communities and certainly South African population, counselor aptitude and ethical awareness, the confidence to enter into the workplace, and finally, the chance to develop in a particular field of your liking. As we move on to the next slides, I will introduce you to SACAP's program that offer this WIL experience. Of the qualifications that Heino spoke about, the following qualification all include a Work Integrated Learning component. So the first qualification is Advanced Certificate in Counseling and Communication Skills, the Diploma in Counseling and Communication Skills, the Bachelor of Applied Social Sciences, majoring in Psychology and Counseling, and the Bachelor of Social Sciences Honors in Psychology, the BPsych equivalent, and then also other professional qualification, which is the Bachelor of Psychology. Next slide, please. These are some of also another qualifications that also offer the WIL experience is the Bachelor of Applied Social Sciences, majoring in Psychology and Human Resource Management, and then Bachelor of Applied Social Sciences, majoring in Psychology and Business Management. And finally, this qualification. So thank you guys for your time, and absolutely, I hope to meet you soon and introduce you to the wonderful world of Work Integrated Learning as I hand over to my host, Katleo. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much, Nhlanhla, for that. Thank you so much to the rest of our team for sharing all this information, and hope this has actually moved you a step closer in deciding which programs to apply when you want to come and study with us. Just please be reminded that if you have any questions, please to continue popping them in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we will get to our Q&A session just before we end off. And right now, as promised, I did promise you guys a virtual tour of our physical campuses. We will be playing the videos for you guys and also sharing the links to the videos in the chat box. Thank you so much for your time. Those are our 4 physical campuses. And as you can see, we have a variety of different personalities in all our 4 campuses, depending on what your personality is and what you like. If you like more of a warm weather and a beach side, our Durban campus will be more suitable for you. But each campus offers its own personality to our students and offer various facilities to make sure that you are comfortable in your stay with us and studying at SACAP. So you will see in the chat box a bit later on that I did share the links to the videos if you would like to go ahead and have a look at them in your own time after the session. But for now, though, we will be getting more into the Q&A. I know you guys have been sending through your questions. Thank you so much. I will kick off. This is a question from Tammy, and it says, good day. Please advise on the selection process of the BPsych degree. I think, Heino, you can maybe just assist me in feeding into that for me, please.
Not a problem at all. Thank you very much for that question. All right, selection process. Once you've submitted all the necessary documents like your addendum, referee reports, your documentation would be sent through to our academical department that will be doing a paper screening for you. Once you've passed your paper screening, then only you will be invited for an interview. Once the interview are conducted by the panel, they then get back to us with feedback if you've been accepted into the BPsych program or not. So once we've got answers from our academic department, then only we're giving you feedback on if you've made it into the program or not.
Thank you very much. Another one from Apiwe and says, can you change the course you have applied for before next year?
Yes, you can change the qualification. You just need to let me know. We change it on our side. So it's not necessary for you to do a complete new application. But once you are fully registered, then it would be little bit difficult to change it. But if you haven't, if classes haven't started, yes, we can still change your application for you.
Okay, cool, thank you. Heino, I think there's quite a few questions here for you. Another one from Bulela, and Bulela says, if you're already a SACAP student, but you just want to change campuses, are you required to reapply?
No, not at all. It's not necessary. Like I said, you just let your admissions officer know, and we change the campus for you on our side.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Another one again for you, Heino. Siobhan Jones says, when is registration closing for the Bachelor of Psychology?
The Bachelors of Psychology, I would advise to do your application as soon as possible. We did start our paper screening already, and students are being invited for interviews. So I would say do it as soon as possible. Latest would be the end of November. So that's around the corner. So you start your application as soon as possible.
Awesome stuff. And Zandile says, Heino, what is the age limit of the course? Is the application process any different if you're in your 50s with years of experience from a different industry, as you'd mentioned, having matric results?
All right, so no, there's no age limit. Any person can apply with SACAP. We would need to be looking at your highest qualification. If your highest qualification is only a grade 12 certificate, it's still not a train smash, even if you're 50. We can also even start looking at the RPL process. RPL means the recognition of prior learning, experience, working experience, those sort of things, but just make contact with me and I'll take you through the process of the RPL.
Buhle has sent us a question wanting to find out, when a person applies for the first time, do they apply for a postgraduate or an undergraduate, or is it their choice to choose from the two? I think this just needs a clarity between, I think, at which level of schooling you are from, or if you have anything else. So I think maybe please clarify that for us, Heino.
All right, so that means if you start your application here the first time, you first need to do an undergraduate degree. In order for you to do a postgrad qualification or an honors, you need to have an undergraduate degree. So in your case, you need to start off with an undergraduate degree. From there onwards, move over to your postgrad or honors, and from honors into masters.
Awesome, thank you. We have another question from Nakawele, and it says, I would like to get into industrial psychology, which is in many cases intertwined with human resource management. However, where I am studying, I did not do human resource management. Instead, I majored in psychology and public relations. What would be the next option with regards to the courses that you offer?
All right, so for you to go into industrial psychology, SACAP is not offering the field of industrial psychology, and you haven't done any human resource management. So I would advise to start looking at human resource management modules. It depends on which institute you are currently studying. But yeah, like I said, just quickly make contact with me and I can take you through the whole process. But industrial psychology is going to be a little bit difficult for you to merge in with SACAP.
Thank you so much. Zandile here has a question wanting to find out, how does the schedule for part-time lessons look like? Is it evenings, on weekends, or over weekends? I think, Carl, maybe you can assist in feeding into that as well.
I'm happy to answer that. So I think generally the differentiator between part-time and full-time studies is the amount of modules that you take per term. A full-time student typically takes 3 modules per term, and part-time students can take 1 or 2 modules per term. Classes are scheduled during the day. So I think if a student or potential student has potential difficulties attending classroom or classes during the day because of work commitments or other commitments, then it might be worth considering one of the online options, which are specifically designed to assist students who want to study who have other commitments.
Thank you so much, Carl. This is another one for admissions from Tato. And it says, if I study a diploma in counseling and communication skills, which career would I be able to apply for?
Diploma in Counseling and Communication Skills, basically any field that's to do with working with people. The diploma is a really broad qualification, so it gives you a lot of skills to merge into. So I would say more your social sciences, those fields you can start looking at.
Thank you. Another one from Dabezinhle, and it says, I'm applying for the Bachelor of Social Science, majoring in Psychology and Counseling. I'm wondering, after that degree, what do I need to do to be a fully qualified psychologist?
Fantastic. Once you've done with that qualification, just make sure that you achieve a minimum of 65% for your third year psychology modules. Then you apply for the academical honors, the honors in counseling and communication or psychology, the academical honors. From there onwards, once done with the honors, you apply for a professional master's like clinical, educational, counseling, or research psychology.
Thank you so much. This is Rathabile, and they're asking, I am currently doing my NQF level 5 and sorry, just a second, it actually just lost me there. Cool. I'm currently doing my NQF level 5 and certificates are only being released in March. Will I be able to apply with a transcript instead, just so I don't have to apply for 2022?
All right, so if you're only finishing up in March, it's not a train smash. You can look at our term 2 intake starting in May. So you can still start your studies next year, but just in term 2 intake, that would be in May.
Awesome stuff. And just still on admissions, it says outside of the 45% minimum 45% English and 50% average on other subjects, is there a point system similar to the government universities?
No, not at all. We only look at your grade 12 certificate. If you got 45% in English and 40% and above in any other 4 modules, that means that you pass with a diploma pass. If it's 45% and above, 45% and then 50% above in any other 5 modules, you do qualify for a bachelor's pass. So SACAP is not working on a point system like with the government institutions.
Heino, I'm still going to be with you for a little bit because there's quite a lot of admissions questions coming through. This one says, when do BPsych applicants get confirmation that their application is successful and they will move on to the interview stage?
All right, with that, we send your application through to the academic department. The academic department then do paper screening. Paper screening can take up to 2 weeks, depend on how busy the academic or department are. But I can give you feedback regarding that before the end of December. Before we are closing, you'll be definitely having your feedback regarding your application.
Awesome. Another one coming through. I've already applied. However, I'm in matric and matric final results come out late February and So if I'm accepted, when would I start my program?
All right. We as SACAP do know that the results of the grade 12 certificates would only be in middle Feb, late Feb. We have moved our intake and classes would commence on the 1st of March. So as soon as you receive your final grade 12 certificate, just send it through to us. We send you your fully acceptance letter. We can complete your application registration process and you can start your studies on the 1st of March.
Awesome. How would someone who applied for a credit transfer work? Would I be required to go to classes that I have a credit for?
All right, credit application. No, if we granted you credits on different modules, it's not necessary for you then to attend those classes because you've already got credits for those classes or those modules. So you'll only be doing the modules that are basically left in your program and not the modules that you've got credits for.
Okay, thank you. Deborah is asking, when is the registration closing for Masters in Psychology? After studying my Masters at SACAP, can I study any degree for my doctorate recognized in other universities?
All right, Masters applications, we're currently busy with that. So we did extend it a little bit. So you can still send it through. I will say latest on the 15th of December. So there's also still a selection and interview process on that. So once you've done with our masters, you can apply for your doctorate. All the universities in South Africa do recognize our qualifications. You just need to make contact with that university and see what different doctorates they do offer. But I would advise, if Carl can help us with that, is with the mental health, I would say it's more in the social sciences. If Carl can just give us a little bit more of feedback on that.
Yes, I think generally at that level, you should be able to then further apply into a PhD or doctorate program within social sciences. You won't necessarily be able to use that particular master's program to go into kind of any clinical or professional line within your PhD, within your doctorate. But broadly speaking, any kind of doctorate within the social sciences, yes, you can use that master's to apply, but each university will obviously have its own specific requirements for admission and for application and admission into programs.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Lerato wants to find out, if you are 31 years old and have matric without exemption, does a mature age application apply? What is the criteria?
All right, with the age 31, with no exemptions, that means basically you've got a higher certificate pass. So that means we're gonna then do the bridging course for you, the higher certificate counseling communication. Once done with the higher certificate, you then credit into any of our degrees, receive 4 modules of credits, and just carry on with your degree. So yeah, we can still assist you, even if you're going to be starting off with a higher certificate.
Thank you, Heino. Bulela wants to find out, once the semester ends next week, I'll be completing my first year in the Pretoria campus, where I'll be obtaining my higher certificate. So I wanted to find out if I'll be continuing with my second year in my relocated campus, or will I be required to start over? I've passed all my first year modules. The campus will only be the only thing that I change rather, but I'll be continuing with my Bachelor of Social Sciences.
So if you're done with your higher certificate, that means you just need to make contact with one of your admissions officers or me on the Pretoria campus. Then we will start your application for your degree. Then we'll determine what modules you've already completed on the degree level. You receive credits for that, and you just carry on with your degree. So just make contact with me on the Pretoria campus.
Thank you. Matapelo would also like to find out, and she says, what should I expect in a selection process interview? Is it more formal or is it more informal? I think, I don't know, if you can also feed into this as well.
Thank you, Matapelo, for that question. So our selection interviews are a blend of formal questions and I suppose informal questions, because we want to have an idea of the student's motivation to study towards that qualification. Remember that because it is a professional qualification, we have a limit of 15 students for the BPsych equivalent and 20 students for the BPsych program. So we want to find out more about your motivations and select students that will be appropriate for that interview. However, I can assure you that once you apply, the admissions department will let you know in terms of what you can prepare for that particular selection interview. So you won't walk in that interview blindly. You will be prepared and you know what will be expected of you. Thanks, Kat.
This is more leaning towards Carl in terms of the study options on the online campus. And the question is, will the live sessions mentioned be an alternative for full-time on-campus studies for the BPsych program?
If I understand the question correctly, the BPsych program is not offered online. It's only offered on physical campuses. So the on-campus study option will be applicable to the BPsych program.
So much. This question from Kendall is wanting to just find out what are the benefits of studying psychology at SACAP versus a university. I think this feeds more into then admissions and a little bit of an academic point of view.
I can maybe start with an answer to this. And I think, again, just a starting point in answering this question is that the universities in South Africa and SACAP, we are all accredited by the same accrediting body, the Council on Higher Education. I think the differentiator at SACAP is the benefits are an applied focus on skills and application within real world contexts. Further benefits are the small, interactive and engaging classes that we offer, the levels of support that we provide that many universities don't necessarily do at such scale. And then lastly but not leastly is our work integrated learning component is a very unique component to studying psychology at SACAP.
Thank you very much for that, Carl. Busha wants to find out, this is more admissions. I'm currently doing grade 12 and I want to apply for psychology, but the grade 12 certificate will only be available on the 24th of February. So won't my application be late?
No, not at all. Like I stated earlier, we do start our classes only on the 1st of March. So as soon as you've received your grade 12 results, just send it through to us so we can finalize your application so you can still start your studies in term 1, 2021.
Another one coming through saying, would as a psychology or Cambridge count as a recognized subject for the application process? So this is a Cambridge subject, Cambridge Matric, would that qualify for application?
All right, with the Cambridge, I would advise that once you've done with the qualification of your AS levels, you need to contact SACWA in order to convert your Cambridge international qualification to a South African standard. So we would be needing the SACWA conversion letter that you will be receiving from SACWA, stating for which qualification, is it a bachelor's pass, is it a higher certificate pass, is it a diploma pass, so we can determine in which field or in which qualification we can then apply and register you for. So you need to contact, once done, contact SACWA in order to do a conversion on your qualification.
Thank you, Heino. Danielle wants to find out as well, still from an admissions point of view, is there an interview process to apply for the Bachelor of Social Sciences majoring in psychology and counseling?
All right, so the entrance criteria for that is you need to have an undergraduate degree with a minimum of 65% for your third year psychology modules. So if you achieve the minimum of 65% for your third year psychology modules, you then do qualify in order to apply for the honors in psychology. Then you need to complete your addendum, 2 referee reports, application registration documents, and then we can start your application registration process.
Awesome, thank you. And we have one final question. I just need to make sure that I'm running through everybody's questions. And it says, are SACAP qualifications recognized in other countries?
Yes, SACAP qualifications is recognized. You just need to contact their professional body in order to convert the qualification onto their standards. So in South Africa, you will be contacting SACWA in order to convert it. So let's say, for instance, you want to go to America or England, you just contact their academic body in order to convert the qualification to be recognized on their, in their countries.
Thank you so much, Heino. Just one final question. Will my higher certificate qualification from another institute be recognized at SACAP, or will I be required to do one with you?
Yes, it will be recognized if the qualification is your higher certificate. So higher certificate is on an NQF level 5. You can then apply for our 3-year degrees. So if it's on an NQF level 5, you can apply. So just make sure from the institution where you've completed your higher certificate on what NQF level it is. Then we can do your application for you.
Thank you so much, Heino.
I will read out the questions and I will direct them to the relevant department. So yes, let's get started. I have them here. Okay, so this would be for the admissions department, Marilyn. Kanisha is asking, does SACAP accept GED?
Thank you, Juwaria. Yes, we do accept a GED. We would need to take a look at the student's qualification and be able to advise if the student needs a SACWA conversion. And once we've had a look at that, we would be able to advise on a specific course that the student would qualify for.
Thank you so much. Another question just for you as well. Sipankile asked if we will also cover credits available for people who are in possession of a master's degree, but would like to enroll for the advanced certificate in counseling and communication.
Okay, so credits are subject to the module being on the same credit level as well as learning outcome as SACAP. If the program is on the learning outcome and credit level as SACAP, then we would be able to credit modules. But then again, we do need to have a look at your transcripts, and then we would advise which modules would be accredited. There is a full credit process that we can take you through. So you can just pop us an email with your transcripts and we can assist you on a way forward.
Thank you so much. Fatwa asks, for Marilyn again, can the monthly debit order payment option please be explained in detail?
Okay, so the debit order option means that the program starts in March, so your debit order will go off on a monthly basis for 10 months, and that is basically off your account and we don't allow EFTs, so students will not be able to transfer directly through to us. We do have our fee structures that have been released so that we are available to send this through to you, so you can see exactly the amount the debit order is for our different programs.
Thank you. And Ezra asked, I think, Marilyn, for you again, how long approximately should it take to receive an acceptance or rejection letter after an application is submitted?
Okay, we do receive quite a number of applications, and therefore there is quite an influx of applications that we are processing at the moment. However, I do advise that we are able to send out an acceptance letter no later than 48 hours later than you submitting an application.
Thank you. Another question for you from Brad. Do you also have any bursary or scholarship options to apply for?
So SACAP does not offer any bursary or scholarship options. However, we do advise that you take a look at financial providers as well as companies that do offer bursaries. They would be able to assist you with financing towards our institution.
Marilyn again from Milan. Does SACAP recognize first-year subjects done at Stellenbosch University, for example, Psychology 114 and 144?
Yes, we do recognize modules that have been completed at other institutions. Students then again need to have their modular descriptors sent to us so that we can match that these modules are the same credit level and learning outcome as ours. Once you have sent this through, we will be able to take you through the credit application process.
Thank you. And Jayshree asks, how much is the 5-month coaching course and is it ICF accredited?
Okay, so our programs are ICF accredited. All our coaching programs are. In terms of the fee structure, I will be able to send that through to you via email so that you do have a full breakdown in front of you on the coaching programs and the cost of it.
Thank you very much. I think that's all the questions. Just one more question maybe for the academic department. From Felile, I would like to be a nurse in the future. Do you think psychology is a good foundation? I think maybe Natalie can answer that for us.
Sorry, what was the question?
Sorry. Felile would like to be a nurse in the future. Do you think psychology would be a good foundation?
So I think psychology is a good foundation for any profession that you are going to be working with people with. And nursing is one of those kind of professions where you need to kind of know how to, demonstrate empathy and compassion and care, kind of try and understand what people are trying to tell you without them, always being direct. So definitely, I think psychology is very useful for any profession.
Thank you so much. Marilyn, just one more question. Did you wanted to find out if the applications for the BSAC equivalent or the professional qualifications are closed?
So for the BSAC equivalent program, we are closed. The next intake for that program will be specifically for 2022.
Right. Thank you. Natalie, a question for you. Will online flexi students be able to engage with other students?
So yes, is the short answer, but obviously how that engagement happens will be different and will be dependent on the module itself as well as the educator taking that module. So a lot of our online flexi educators will have webinars every now and then. It's just not structured in the sense that you will definitely have a webinar every week, but you might have a webinar for one particular session, and in that space you'll be able to engage with your educator as well as other students. Some educators set up WhatsApp groups as a way of kind of engaging with, questions and topics and stuff like that offline. And then there's forum discussions and all of that as well. So you are engaging with your peers, you are engaging with your educator. It's just done a little bit differently to the face-to-face space or the online live study option.
Thank you. If you could just stay on as well. How do online flexi assessments work?
So very similar to the online live and the online on-campus options as well. So your assessments are still going to be sometimes written assignments. Sometimes you'll have to video record yourself if you're needing to do role plays or things like that. But very much the same. You will write an assessment. You will upload it onto my SACAP where it will be graded and feedback provided from your educator.
Right, and stay on again. How do flexi students receive lecturer support from lecturers?
Okay, so your educators, even in the online flexi campus, are expected to be available to you. So this will be done either through the WhatsApp groups that they will set up, through my SACAP, or through email as well. So all our educators, regardless of what campus you are on, are expected to reply to emails within 24 to 48 hours. So you will definitely still have that kind of one-on-one attention, even if you are on the online flexi space.
Thank you. And how is the Bachelor of Psychology different from the Bachelor of Applied Social Sciences majoring in psychology and counseling?
Okay. So that's an interesting question. So at SACAP, the modules that you will do, so the kind of content that you will cover in the 18 months is very similar to the Bachelor of Honors. But the kind of focus is a little bit different. In the Bachelor of Psychology equivalent program or the Bachelor of Psychology 4-year program, you're focused on becoming a registered counselor, and that's the biggest difference. So while some of the content is the same, at the end of the Bachelor of Psychology or the Bachelor of Psychology equivalent, you will be able to register with the Health Professions Council as a registered counselor. With the honors or the Bachelor of Applied Social Science, that registration is not possible. So you can't do things like open your own private practice and do kind of counseling and stuff like that. But the modules and the content and the kind of applied practical focus is still very similar.
Right, and then with reference to the Bachelor of Social Science Honours in Psychology, can the honours degree be used to register as a counsellor and not necessarily a psychologist?
No, so you won't be able to register with any kind of governing body like the HPCSA, but the honours is at a level where you will be able to apply for masters in either counselling psychology or clinical psychology or educational or whatever. But the honours program is more of an academic program. But at SACAP, it is still a very applied and practical program as well.
Thank you for that. This question is for Marilyn. The Masters in Social Sciences, what do you consider for the RPL application, especially if one has not achieved 65% but have extensive work experience?
Students who would like to apply for an RPL application are more than welcome to do so. This will come with supporting documentation such as your CV, your qualifications, as well as any webinars or seminars you've attended. We will take all this compiled portfolio of evidence and submit it to our academic deans, in which we'll then go through it and we will be able to advise if you have enough extensive work experience to place you into a master's program.
Thank you so much. Catherine, this is a question for you. The will is taken after or during your degree, example, during the BSS Honours in Psychology or afterwards. And question number 2 is the same question. Is this on campus or online?
So when it comes to work integrated learning, we offer it at an undergraduate space within your qualification that you're currently studying. Right. So if you are doing your degree, the work integrated learning program will be part and parcel of your training process, and it's offered on campus and on an online space.
Thank you so much. I will just go through questions. Admissions, I'll just forward this question to you. Students currently doing an honors in counseling psychology, and can they do a 6-month program that can help them register with us as a professional counselor or register with HPCSA?
Okay, so the HPCSA does not allow us to run the work integrated learning practical separate from an honors program. Therefore, you would not be able to apply credits from your current honors into a BSAC equivalent honors. Therefore, you would be required to complete the entire honors program with the 6-month internship that is attached to it. So this will be an entire 18 months instead of gaining any credits into it.
Thank you. To stay on, another question with a reference to online live. Can the student study the Bachelor of Applied Social Sciences majoring in psychology and counseling full-time online? And how long will this degree be online?
Yes, you can definitely do this online live, and this program is 3 years full-time.
Thank you. If one is struggling with getting a referee report for applications, what can one do?
So there is a lot of options in which where you can get in referee reports from. You are not only required to get this from educators that you have previously been in classes with. You can get this from a pastor, a previous employer. So your options are more well versed other than you going directly to your institution. So just look within your community, within your group, and you'd be able to get somebody to write a reference for you.
Thank you. Natalie, this question is for you. If you would like to study for the program focusing on psychology and counseling, what do you recommend doing to make sure you can register as a counselor and open up your own practice?
Okay, so if you do want to register as a registered counselor, you will need to go for the Bachelor of Psychology program, which is the 4-year program. If you already have an undergraduate in majoring in psychology, I would advise that you apply for the Bachelor of Psychology Honors, Bachelor of Psychology Equivalent program. So if you're wanting to be a counselor, you're wanting to register with a Health Professions Council, you need to apply for one of the programs that are going to ultimately lead you to a registration with the Health Professions Council. So doing something like the Applied Social Science bachelor's degree or the Academic Honors qualification isn't going to get you there.
Thank you so much. Catherine, this question is directed for you. If you do the Bachelor of Social Science Honors in Psychology, what can you do after to be able to counsel besides doing a master's?
So if you were to do your BSAC or BSAC equivalence, which is then the Bachelor of Social Science in Psychology Honors, you would be trained to then be a registered counselor at the end of that program. So this is for the BSAC equivalence and the BSAC programs. So the 18 months and the 4-year programs, at the end of that program, you would be trained to be a registered counselor, which would then give you a capacity to counsel. You would, however, be expected as soon as you're done studying to then write a board exam with the Health Professions Council of South Africa, in which if you were to complete it successfully, you would then be able to open your private practice, work in communities, work in different organizations, provide counseling, among other mental health services.
Thank you so much. I'm just going through a few more questions just to see. So there's a question for maybe Natalie can answer this. Is there no option to become a counselor and open a practice for Flexi students because a Bachelor in Psychology is not available on the Flexi?
Yeah, so unfortunately not, and this is not kind of a SACAP regulation, but a regulation by the HPCSA, is that any kind of professional program can't be done in the online space. It needs to be on the face-to-face campuses where you're getting the kind of, physical interaction and stuff like that. So unfortunately not.
Right, thank you. There is just one question directed to the admissions department. This person just joined a little late, but they just wanted to know about what will be the qualifications for studying psychology. Just what would they need, essentially?
Okay, so we need a matric certificate with a higher certificate, diploma, or a bachelor's pass. As long as you have a matric certificate with one of these passes, we would be able to place you in a program that will get you into the psychology stream of either becoming a registered counselor or a registered psychologist. We do offer higher certificate programs, diplomas, and degrees, as well as the options of 2 different honors programs, as well as a master's programs. These programs are all specialization in psychology with double majors. So you would be able to go the full psychology stream with us.
Right, thank you. Thank you so much. I would just like to answer this question myself. If they need further advice or questions, who can they contact for support, and what is the email address? You can just drop your email address and your question or queries in the chat box below, and we'll get to you soon then. I think this is a question for Natalie as well, just the last one. The students not understanding the difference between the Bachelor of Social Science Honors Psychology and the equivalent. What makes the other allow counseling and the other not? Thank you.
So the Bachelor of Psychology equivalent program is structured in such a way where some of the modules are focused on the registered counselor category. So it's a program that we have accredited with the HBCSA, where they have confirmed that the kind of content we're covering, the sort of practical stuff, is going to allow you to register as a counselor, as a registered counselor. One of the big differences between the honors and the equivalent as well is that the equivalence program has a 12-month practicum. So in your kind of third term of your first year, you are going out into the field. We place you with an organization where you're getting the kind of hands-on learning experience to become a registered counselor. Our honors program, you won't be having that kind of practicum or practical experience outside in the field.
Thank you so much for that. Catherine, this is a question for you. The students studied statistics as their first degree, and they would like to study the BPsych in psychology, the Bachelor of Psychology. Can they study the 18-month course and become a registered psychologist? Thank you.
So thank you. The 18-month course, as explained by Natalie, is primarily centered around becoming a registered counselor. You would not then be able to be a psychologist. And the reason for this is because the 18-month course, the BPsych equivalent, is tailored towards a specific profession, which would then be the registered counselor at an NQF level 8. And in order for anyone to be a psychologist, they would need to complete an NQF level 9, which means that they would need to complete a master's qualification and training process in order for them to register as a psychologist in the different categories that they would have been honed into.
Thank you so much. I will just answer this question here. Do we need to book for a virtual tour? Is it part of this virtual open day? So we will have videos in the chat box below that will show you, a video of our campus, but you're more than welcome to book a virtual tour of the campus if you'd like to come through and meet us in person as well. Natalie, this is a question for you. Which program should this person go to? They would like to study towards being a psychiatrist.
Okay, so being a psychiatrist is quite different in a lot of ways to being a psychologist because it falls under the medical profession. So you would need to do a little bit of research on psychiatry because, as far as I understand it, is you need to kind of pursue a medical degree first and then specialize in psychiatry later on. So do a little bit of research because it is very different to being a psychologist.
Right, thank you. Catherine, a question for you. What typical jobs can a counsellor do?
So there are myriad of things that a registered counsellor can do. You can either open a private practice, work under a psychologist in their particular practice. You can work at a public hospital more times than not, or a private hospital, or work at a clinic. You can work at a school as a school counsellor. You can be an educator. You can be a lecturer. You can also facilitate wellness programs where you affiliate with different employee empowerment and wellness companies such as ACCREDITATION, the works. You can work as a community liaison, where you are helping communities with different problems and resolving different grassroots concerns that they may have that are not pathological in nature. In essence, to be a registered counselor actually does allow you to spread your wings a bit more, as opposed to actually being idle towards a particular qualification or particular category that limits your capacity. So there are a lot of things that you can do with your qualification.
Thank you, Catherine. Marilyn, just a question to Kanisha earlier, asking about what documents would they need for someone that has a GED? So what kind of documents would you require from them specifically?
Okay, students who have a GED would need to go through the SACWA conversion. So this means that they need to go onto the SACWA website and convert their qualification onto an NQF level, which is our NQF level of an NQF level 4. Once this has been done, students can then submit that certification along with their matric as well as their application to us, and then we can place them into a program.
Right, thank you so much. Catherine, a question for you. So can we not become a registered counsellor with the honours program, only with the equivalent program with the practicum?
So with the honours program, the honours in psychology, that is academic, you cannot become a registered counsellor. And the reason is because you wouldn't have had the rigorous and quite stringent in times, but very great training process in order for you to have the counselling capacity and the professional stature thereof. Just like Natalie highlighted, the registered counsellor category comes with a 12-month process of being trained in the field of mental health work, whereas the academic honours does not have that, right? So it is only with the B-Psych, which is the Bachelor in Psychology qualification. That is a 4-year program where you would register knowing that at the end you'll become a registered counselor, that you can be a registered counselor and conduct counseling. And with the B-Psych equivalent program, where you will merge your previous studies, depending on whether or not you qualify for that process, and study for 18 months, in which 6 months would be quite rigorous training with regards to just upskilling you with your counseling processes and skill sets, and then a 12-month process of going into what we call a practicum, but in the generic world, everyone knows it as a practical and experiential learning process of training you to be able to be a registered counselor.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Natalie, a question for you. In other words, what is the difference between a counsellor and a psychologist?
All right, very good question. So what the HPCSA does is it's got different kinds of registration categories. And within these registration categories, there are what we call scopes of practice. Now, a counsellor or a registered counsellor, and I was talking specifically about the registered counsellor now, because you've also obviously got things like lay counsellors and all of that kind of stuff. But the scope of practice for a registered counsellor is slightly smaller and narrower than what a counselling psychologist or a clinical psychologist would be. So even the scopes of practice between a counselling psychologist and a clinical psychologist are quite different as well. So a counselling psychologist cannot work in a hospital psychiatric setting, whereas a clinical psychologist can. So a registered counsellor would be someone who would deal with the kind of day-to-day problems that people come with. They can also deal with things like addiction, trauma, all of that kind of stuff. But one of the biggest difference between a registered counsellor and a psychologist, any kind of psychologist, is things like a registered counsellor can't diagnose. So if you are working with a client and you start to see that they are exhibiting symptoms of a kind of personality disorder or whatever, you would need to refer them on to an appropriate psychologist or other professional. In terms of assessment as well, there are certain assessments that a registered counsellor can do and other assessments that they can't do and would need to refer on to a psychologist. So the HPCSA has set up quite nicely on their website the different scopes of practice. So what I would do so prospective students know what they're actually getting into is, again, do a little bit of research on the different scopes of practice. Where do you eventually want to end up? If it's clinical psychology, is a registered counsellor route the kind of right route for you, or should you rather go for the applied social science and stuff like that?
Thank you, Natalie. Catherine, a question for you. Can a student start off with the equivalent and then later do their master's? If so, would they have to do a different level 8 from the equivalent degree? You're on mute, Catherine.
Sorry. So yes, a student can start off with an equivalence qualification and then move on to doing their master's. So whether or not, no, they do not have to do a different NQF level 8 qualification. If you were to complete the BPsych equivalent, which is an NQF level 8, or the BPsych did honors, that is the BPsych for being a registered counselor, you would then have an NQF level 8. It will enable you to register as a registered counselor. And in the case that you are practicing as a registered counselor and you want to branch into becoming a psychologist, or doing your master's either in a community psychology qualification, you would be able to do that with the NQF level 8 that you have from your psychology or your BPsych or BPsych equivalent program.
Thank you, Catherine. So there's a question from Anwil. Is there an option to complete a Bachelor of Applied Social Sciences, majoring in psychology and counseling, and then only completing the required modules in order to become a counselor psychologist? So basically, the Bachelor of Applied Social Sciences, majoring in psychology and counseling, is an NQF level 7 qualification. So it's an undergraduate bachelor's degree. You would have to do your honors qualification, so that you can then go and do the BPsych equivalent program or the academic honors program to then get your NQF level 8. If you do the professional honors program, you would then qualify to register with the HPCSA as a counselor, and then later on go to your master's. You are able to apply for your master's with an academic honors as well.
We have come to the end of our live Q&A session, but if we did not answer any of your questions and you'd like our team to contact you, please leave your email address in the chat box, and we will definitely make sure we come back to you with your with more information, whether it's application processes or minimum entry requirements. We will definitely be in touch with you on that. And we would also like to just thank you so much for joining us for our open day, and certainly hope that we've made your decision to study with us just a little bit easier. We have shared through the links to our videos on the chat box for you to actually have a look at our physical campuses and get the feel for it. And also, please do follow us for more updates on our social media platforms. That is where you'll get information about the application processes, events, or any other updates that may come through. We will also make the session available on our social media platforms in case you may have missed something and want to revert back. But once again, thank you very much for your time, and have yourselves a lovely day further.